I'm in South Korea right now. I've been here since the end of March 2020. So almost a year, but not quite. Still a few months shy of a year. Um, I'm in South Korea. I've decided to go home, back to the USA. And it's because I've gotten everything I could possibly get out of traveling at this point. I've been traveling since 2014, so for almost 6 years, and pretty much almost 6 years straight. I've been to Thailand, Laos, Hong Kong, Bangladesh, Cambodia, China, and South Korea. In that time frame, I was in and out of America here and there. I was in and out of America here and there. And when I traveled, I was usually going to a teaching job, which meant I was in the location for a while, which allowed me to learn about the culture I was in, and it allowed me to form friendships. South Korea is probably the first country where it was very hard for me to make friends. Like usually I have an instant group of friends. Like it's always this car right here is an asshole, almost fucking hit me. Didn't even bother to slow down even though I was at a crosswalk. Anyways, so usually it's very easy for me to make friends in a new country. I've heard that even before the pandemic, it's just hard to make friends in Korea in general. I think it's a culture that takes itself too seriously, is why. So there's that. I found it hard to make friends here. It's also the pandemic, as you can see by the mask. So there's the whole I don't want to get the cooties thing going on in South Korea, where people are social distancing, and they're certainly not trying to go out of their way for for strangers. So this was one of the harder chapters of my traveling. Like I can admit things like overall Korea is a good country. In theory, it's a democracy. I can tell that the healthcare is good. For the most part, the streets are clean. So like I can tell Korea is a good country. And in theory, it has most of what you would want to live somewhere. With that being said, I've been pretty unhappy here. With that being said, I've met a lot of mean people here. But in some ways, like coming to Korea in a pandemic has given me the courage to work on my dreams. I think that's what the coronavirus has been about for the world, is like, obviously, we have to evaluate the way we've been doing things. You know, we have to change the way we've been doing things. And like on the materialistic level, we can see that in the way we wear masks, or the way we're going from online work to from brick and mortar work to online work, or we're reducing our hours, or we're just keeping our distance from people. Like it's making us reorder our priorities, and to think about what really matters. And like for me, like being isolated in Korea and lonely in Korea is not how I should be spending my time. Like also I'm very aware of the fact that I don't speak the language. So like I just recently I've been feeling like, wow, like I'm really wasting my time out here. Like, and why am I doing that? Why am I just in Korea wasting my time? Like I could be doing something better with my time. Like, you know, America also needs help with education. Like Korea likes to brag about how great its education system is, which I don't really think is true, which I can explain in another video. But America's education system definitely needs improvements. And like, even if I was just going to stay a teacher, I'd rather teach for America. I'd rather make a difference in my own community Um, and uh, I've learned when I was younger, it was kind of fine that what I was getting out of teaching was traveling experiences. I was learning about culture and the world and myself. And when I was younger, that was enough. That's all I needed to get. But now that I am older, I want more permanency and I want more stability and I want a greater impact. Like being abroad is like trying to build a sandcastle on sand. It just doesn't work. I mean, that's a stupid metaphor because of course you build a sandcastle on sand. But what I mean by that is it's gonna get wiped away. It's bound to get washed away. And then from there, what do you have? You don't have anything. So like, I just realized you can't build when you're abroad. Like you absolutely cannot build when you are abroad. Anything you get is not yours. Like when you're teaching, it sounds good to get a free apartment, but it's not yours. I mean, yeah, when you're young, it might be a really good opportunity to save. But like when you're older, like you realize you can actually make a lot more money in America. In some ways, teaching abroad is like doing volunteer work. So like, essentially, like I'm just not getting anything out of this anymore. And I want to be home making a difference in my own community. Like, so like I'm very glad to be done with it. Like it's like being in Korea has been a lonely experience, essentially. So I'm very glad to be done with it. And I'm excited to get back to America. But I do have like 2 weeks in Korea, so I want to take advantage of it. I want to get outside, do some filming, and essentially take advantage of it. Take advantage of being in Korea. And I don't have work, so I can do whatever I want these last 2 weeks. I think I'm going to cross the road even though it's red. Look, it's bad. I'm a rule breaker. Oh well. I like this. Hello. Sometimes they have sandwiches. But there's not. Okay, that pit stop is over. It's a brilliant little pit stop. So I should probably tell you some things that I've gotten out of traveling. I've gotten a lot more self-confidence out of traveling. I've learned a lot about the world. My ignorance is diminished by maybe 6%. I have confidence to go into situations that I don't know very much about and survive. There's been times where I've had to survive in a foreign country without knowing the language and without having like any money at all. And I landed on my feet like a cat. So I'm very impressed with my survival skills. I'm very impressed with my ability to adapt and to learn and to be quick on my feet. I'm very impressed with my ability to make friends wherever I go. Except in South Korea, it was very hard to make friends during the pandemic. I managed to make 1 or 2 friends throughout the whole year. I'll say 2. I managed to make two friends in the entire year. One is closer than the other. This is the CEO. I'm gonna go in here too. Maybe get a coffee. smells. Korea has the weirdest sandwiches. Like, this is just a dessert sandwich, you know. It's like chocolate, cheese, and whipped cream. And then it has these weird combo sandwiches. It's like crab, ham, and egg. And then this is probably the weirdest sandwich. This is like a corn sandwich. It's a corn salad sandwich. No one wants a corn, someone must want a corn salad sandwich because they made it. But I don't. Don't want to get lost. There's a Starbucks. Gotta love Starbucks. Bada bing, bada boom. I'm really close to someone that I thought I loved, and I'm thinking about cleaning myself up and going to visit them. Anyways, I had to go to the bank, and the bank is right there. So I guess I'm gonna go do that today, even though I'm sleep deprived. Smelly. Sleep deprived and smelly. Because I'm leaving America. So I'm gonna say my goodbyes. What else did I get from traveling? It made me become aware of my place in the world a lot better. I don't think you can maneuver effectively in your own world until you learn how to maneuver. It's almost like I learned to drive in life by getting out of my country. I feel like I can maneuver America a lot better just because my world became more expansive. Like, you know, if I can be in Thailand or Cambodia, if I can be in a third world country and land on my feet with little resources, not speaking the language, then it's like, what can I do in my own country? You know, like, so it made me feel like a lot more self-confident to take on my country, and any problems I might find there, because you know, America certainly has a lot of problems, like the healthcare, the gun violence, the racism. But I dealt with international racism. I haven't dealt with too much gun violence, but I have dealt with violence, and you know, I think I'm ready to go. I am ready to go home, and I need to go home because I need to be a part of my own community. And yeah, I do feel like being abroad has helped me to navigate, to move better, to think quicker, to have more faith in myself, to be able to handle bigger and more challenging obstacles. I'm gonna go in here. I want to get something. I don't know if it will be here, but it should be at the next one. This one is too small. It will not be here. I really like this store though. Might go see a old friend today. Can't believe how close I am without trying. Just really close. Really, really close. Yeah, I'm really, really close to this old friend. I've gained a lot of weight since I last saw them. And like I said, I'm leaving South Korea, so I could go see them or skip seeing them. And by old friend, I mean they kind of did some horrendous things to me, but I forgive them. Uh, anyways, let's let that sad moment go and move on in the conversation. So we were talking about traveling making me like a stronger, more confident, resilient person. It did. Yeah, it did. So I highly recommend traveling. And I highly recommend doing it while you're young, instead of when you're older. Well, I recommend traveling while you're young, so it can impact the rest of your life as you move forward. And then I recommend you do it again when you're older. I recommend that traveling is a part of your life, but like you do it more wisely, because I don't think I ever made my point about trying to build on sand, which is what it's like when you're traveling consistently and constantly, is trying to build a life on sand. It's always getting washed away, which is fine when you're young. It's fine to make new memories. It's fine to start over. But once you start getting a little older, you realize you want more permanence in your life, more stability. So where I am is I want more permanence in my life. I want more stability, and I have to slow it down for those reasons, that I need certain things out of this life. And one of those is coffee, which I'm going to get from the 7-Eleven up here. But another of them is like I want a career. I don't want to just make money. If I teach, I want to teach things of substance. I don't want to just keep teaching babies their ABCs. It gets teaching English, that you'll be thrilled by just the fact that you're in a foreign country for the first 2 to 3 years of your career. But then the reality of going da will hit you, and you will no longer want that to be your line of work, because you'll realize how silly it is, and how that is not what you got a very expensive 4-year degree for. So that's just where I am. Is like, I don't want a job, and I want a career. I'm right on time of where I should be. I should want a career at this age in my life. This is coffee, which I'm getting. Yeah, I should want a career at this age in my life, instead of just a meaningless teaching job. All of that is very normal. So I got my coffee, and there is a pause button on this camera. And I really need to wrap this video up, because it's been going on and on. I'm sure it's already been boring to a lot of you. Yeah, I'm going home, just because this chapter in South Korea has been depressing, especially during a pandemic. Like, I definitely want to be in my own country at this time. I want to be around people who speak English, and the novelty of traveling has worn off. I've just simply outgrown this chapter of my life. It was immensely important in my initial development to travel, but it would be as if I was continuing to crawl when I know how to walk. At this point, I know how to run, and like, teaching abroad feels like crawling. Like, I know how to run, and I need to be running. So I feel like I can run in America, where I feel like I can mostly just crawl abroad. I hope you understand and get that metaphor. I've simply outgrown this chapter, so it's time for me to move on. And that was what I learned in 2020. But I had this feeling I wanted to do something different for a while now. It's just, with everything falling apart so dramatically in 2020, it's really time for me to do something new, and be around and surrounded by people who love me, and to form great and brilliant friendships with my fellow Americans. I treasure and value the friendships I have with my international friends, my Chinese friends, my friends from around the globe. But I need to start making friends with people from my own country and my own nation, and I need to be a lot closer with my own local community. And yeah, it's time for me to stop living abroad. It's a waste. Anyways, so I'm logging out. That's all for this video.